I'm in the beautiful resort city of Dalat, set in Vietnam's Central Highlands at about 4,900 feet elevation. This is a city and region like no other in Vietnam, on a plateau that rises above the tropical lowland associated with much of the lower half of the country. The place people come to relax, stay cool, and not least of all, it's the country's most popular destination for honeymooners. I'm here on John Hong Lake, and just around the corner from me is a golf course. Not exactly what you think of when you think of the core of a Vietnamese city, but then Dalat owes its existence to the French. In the 1890s, several European scientists visiting the area, including a protege of Louis Pasteur, suggested to the then Governor General of what was then French Indochina that a resort be built in these highlands. The French powers that be liked the idea, maybe because much of the year they were sweltering in Saigon, today's Ho Chi Minh City. And so Dalat was born as a planned European resort city, with this lake near the center of it all, and the golf course, which is still thriving, within walking distance. It's rather ironic that the first people to suggest this place as a resort were scientists, because today Dalat is a center for scientific research in biotechnology and nuclear physics. The first hotel was built here in 1907, and before long Dalat, with its distinctly French and European architecture, much of it still intact, became a playground for Europeans in Indochina. We're talking about a city laid out with boulevards and parks, villas, schools, homes, churches, all of it in European style. By the 1930s, there was talk of even making Dalat the administrative capital of Indochina. That might have happened, except for a couple of distractions. First, there was World War II, and afterward, following the war, the Vietnamese rose up under Ho Chi Minh and drove out the French. The French built this as a man-made lake by simply doing one thing, and that is damming up the river. The river is still here in a technical sense, but it's been captured in a concrete open viaduct. The space has been restored as a park since long ago, and it's a nice place to walk through the center of town and dodge traffic and street noise. One piece of architecture clearly not built by the French is this place, officially the Hang Nha House, or guest house, which in Vietnamese means goddess of the moon, but nobody calls it that. Here, it's known simply as the crazy house. That's because of the unusual, some would say bizarre, expressionist style of this fairy tale house. For years now, after the architect owner incurred quite a bit of debt to build it, it has served as a 10-room guest house, as well as a tourist destination. This place was the dream of one woman, the architect Dang Viet Nha, who opened it to the public in 1990. There is one little detail about Dang Viet Nha. She happens to be 83 years old now, but the detail that is probably more relevant is that she is the daughter of the man who succeeded Ho Chi Minh as the Prime Minister of the former North Vietnam. If you look closely, you won't see many right angles anywhere in this building, but you'll see a lot of fantasy. Instead of using blueprints, she produced paintings and had craftsmen transform work off the paintings to create the structural elements. The biggest struggle to building this place is said to have been gaining permission to do it. There was public resistance, even outcry. But she kept at it, she weathered the ridicule, and now, well, it's one of the more famous buildings in all of Dalat. The only thing that I haven't really seen yet or noticed is, where are the guest rooms? I'm just wondering what it would be like to be here as a guest and have this constant throng of visitors walking through. Low-hanging limb here, and it's a real one. This place was built to accommodate nature, not to alter it. I think I might see a guest room. I guess not. Just take a look at this cavernous pavilion-like section of this place. It was not built for grandma. The more I think about it, the more I think Crazy House is not such a crazy name.
It would be impossible for me to enumerate all of the things I've piled on my plate. My first plate, there will be some additional food, but I thought maybe the easiest thing to do would just be to take my camera and walk down the line of this buffet and show you the incredible choice one has here for such a reasonable price. The cost of this dinner, which can be as many courses as you want it to be, is 99,000 dong, roughly $4.25 US, and the quality and the quantity of food and drink being served here is incredible. So I'll let the food sort of speak for itself. Well, my eyes were ahead of my appetite, but I did have to go back for some of the bun bo way, which is a dish that I've come to love in Vietnam. And of course it's named for the city from which it was born, Hue, the ancient capital. And this bun bo is as delicious as it gets.
Sometimes you hit a town and you find a restaurant and you just want to go back. And that's my experience at the An Lac buffet. Chosen to have breakfast not far from my hotel.
here on the lake in a beautiful restaurant. When you come to Dalat, you recognize that it's well worth it as a destination on its own. But to really appreciate this place, you do have to get out into the beautiful Central Highlands and explore these hills.
We've arrived at what's commonly called Pink Grass Hill. During the rainy season, the grass, the flowers here on this hill turn pink, hence the name Pink Grass Hill. During the time that we're here, things are dry, the grass turns yellow, so it really should be Yellow Grass Hill.
As I later appreciate after looking at a map, Lee is taking me on a giant circle in the highlands that surround Dalat, where every turn seems to offer a new curiosity. Among them, the many flower farms that cover the hills, including one I'm able to visit.
This particular greenhouse is filled with daisies, lilies, and there are some marigolds here. This has been an established industry around Dalat for many decades. Flowers at these greenhouses, they're cut and put aboard trucks and wind up on the streets of Ho Chi Minh City and elsewhere. For the most part, the flower industry in the Central Highlands has been a domestic industry, but that is beginning to change, with a Dutch company beginning to export tulips and roses. That community you see in the valley below is called Lâm Hoi. After the Vietnam War, the government persuaded a number of people from Hanoi to move here. This being Lâm Dang province, and the new settlers being from Hanoi, hence Lâm Hoi as the name of the village at the bottom of this hill.
We're headed to Lâm Hoi, but first we're taking a side road to a coffee plantation, one of many here that have helped Vietnam take its place behind Brazil as the world's second largest coffee producer.
Walking literally into a coffee plantation. As you can see, dodging the tree limbs.
Coffee smell like jasmine flower. Now we are in the coffee plantation.
Yeah.
We have three main kind of coffee. This one, very popular, we call the Robusta coffee. And the taste of the Robusta coffee more bitter. And the other kind of the small tree over there, you can see. The small tree behind. We call mocha coffee. The taste of mocha coffee more sweet.
I see.
And the other of coffee we call the Liberica coffee, or some people they call Liberian coffee. Maybe it come from Liberia. Liberian coffee, the Liberica coffee more sour. The local farmer they believe when they mix three coffee together, they make the best coffee. And when people come here, the government offer them the piece of land, the piece of forest. They have to cut down the forest and they grow up something like sweet potato, banana, tapioca, and some people they try to grow up coffee. They sell to the factory, but some people they try to make coffee by themselves. When they roast the coffee, they add together with some butter, some chicken fat, some drop of rice wine. Even people in the Central Highlands, when they roast the coffee, they add together with some fish sauce. So the taste of coffee in Vietnam very different. When you take together with some sweet condensed milk, the flavor almost like chocolate flavor.
What's your favorite?
Yeah, I love the Robusta coffee because it's more bitter.
Yeah.
And it wakes me up all the time when we rub in a lot.
Gotcha. Keeps you alert.
Yeah.
In Lam Hoi, we're headed to a family-owned coffee roaster of the kind one doesn't so often encounter.
Ông này là ly cà phê miễn phí, là ông quảng cáo YouTube cho mày là chuyên gia YouTuber này. Yeah, they smell like chocolate. Chocolate flavor.
Cái này còn khách à? Không qua đâu.
Oh yeah, it's almost candy-like.
Yeah. Amazing.
Kopi Luwak coffee. That's in the vernacular known as weasel coffee. Some of the most rich tasting and expensive coffee that you'll find in the world wherever it's produced. This coffee has a little secret, and that is that it has gone through an extra step in the coffee bean's maturation process, which is to say the bean has been run through the digestive system of a tiny mammal known as the Asian palm civet. Here in Vietnam, as in other places where this type of coffee is processed, the little creature hangs around coffee plantations, eats the unripened coffee cherries straight for its pulp, but it can't digest the beans themselves. So what it does is poop them out. And that's where this coffee gets its famous start. Of course, there's no trace of excrement in the bean afterward because trained personnel are able to get the beans, remove the excrement, wash them.
And also they try to get off the shell up here. Get off the shell. This one like a plastic and it no poo anymore.
But the fermentation that takes place in the little guy's digestive system draws the bitterness of the coffee bean out, giving it a particularly smooth, more mellow taste.
The downside, these animals are glorified prisoners. Instead of license plates, they're making coffee. You see unexpected things in the countryside surrounding Dalat. Some of them man-made, others not. I don't know about you, but I consider anywhere serving up cool breezes and flower-scented sidewalks something special. That's Dalat.